Warm greetings from the High 10. It is Everyday Shenanigans on this Thursday, February 14th, 2020. Happy Valentine's Day to you all. I want to bring you an update in the storyline pertaining to Miss Faye Marie Swetlik, 6 years old, who was found deceased this week in Casey, South Carolina. And I want to bring you that information. Very, very sad day to even have to bring another update pertaining to this child. I was hoping that she would be found alive, but unfortunately, she was found deceased. So I'm going to bring you the sad information that is deriving from a press conference that took place in South Carolina this morning. 911 audio has been released. People and reporters were asking about that, and so that information has been released. Mr. Antley, the one who's the spokesperson for the police department, told the public that they went through trash because many people had been seeing investigators going through the trash, I guess following the dumpsters, the trucks, and going through the trash. And that is true. They went through the trash, and that is where they found critical evidence through the trash, which linked them to the person who they believe is the suspect that exacted this crime against Miss Faye. And they had been to the suspect's home many times. The location where Faye was found, which was in a wooded area near her home, she had not been there a long time. That was determined, I guess, when the coroner went to the scene and investigators went to the scene. That was established that she had not, it does not look that she had been there a long period of time where her body was disposed of. The male that is linked to this crime of Miss Faye Swetlik was 30-year-old Cody Scott Taylor, who lived at 602 Piccadilly Square, right near where Miss Faye lived. They will be performing, the coroner's office will perform an autopsy tomorrow, and then you'll get the said information of what they find once they're done with the autopsy. Of course, they will release that information to the public, but as of yet, they will not give a manner of death or what they think the manner of death is until the autopsy has been performed. The evidence that was found in the trash links Cody Taylor to Faye Swetlik. He is a neighbor who lived in the Churchill Heights area. He is not a friend nor a relative of Faye or the family. Right now, there are no other suspects, and they're not seeking anyone else as a person of interest at this current time, but the investigation is still ongoing. They want to thank the public for their tips, because without those tips, he says they may not be where they are today with the case. They did search their homes, invaded their privacy, but it was all for the goal of finding Miss Faye and bringing her home. Her body was discovered between her residence and the Napa Auto Parts store. Mr. Cody Scott Taylor, his body was discovered at his residence. As I state, it is still an open investigation. And it's open because they want to make sure that no one else, no other parties or suspects were involved in her disappearance. And as I state, the critical piece of evidence that was found in a trash can, in a bag, was a critical piece of evidence that linked the two. And it was evidence that would have been on the missing persons flyer. And that evidence that was found was also at the 602 Piccadilly Square address where Mr. Scott resided. Cody Scott Taylor resided. He has no criminal record. His birthday is 3/9/89. They don't have any information pertaining to him being in any type of trouble. Police had talked to Mr. Taylor, as they did with the other neighbors in the area. But, as I state, the evidence that they have linked him to Faye Swetlik, and they will not give out that information as of yet, what the evidence is. Okay, my commentary. Thank God they checked the trash. Thank God the police department had enough sense to say, this child is missing. We're going to do all we need to do to get this child home and to find who may, or them, whomever, was involved with this crime of getting her gone before they even knew that the child was deceased, found deceased. So I'm glad they checked the trash bins, checked the trash cans. I'm glad they went door to door and they stayed on those neighbors and they stayed in that neighborhood because somehow they had an inkling that she was in that area and that the suspects were in that area. And obviously they knew something because that's where she was found, near her home, 100 to 150 feet from her home to his home, if I'm not mistaken, is where she was, where the houses are made, the townhouses. It's close proximity where he lived to where she lived and the location of where she was found. What I'm curious to know is, when did he kill himself? Or if he killed himself? I might be jumping the gun a little bit, but I'm just assuming that he did because they now released that he was found in his home. So what I'm wondering is, did he get spooked on the first time that the police approached him to talk? Because as I state, they talked to everyone in the neighborhood. So when did he get spooked? How many times did they go to his home to talk to him? Did they get evidence Johnny on the spot, or it was an extra day, 5 hours, what? Wondering. How did he end up dead in his home? Who did he live with at that residence? Were there other parties that lived there at that home that he stayed in? Did he live alone? No. What did he do for a living? Where did he work? Had this Cody person approached Faye before? Had he tried to lure her before? Had he tried to lure other children in the neighborhood? Has he molested other children before? Is he linked to being around other children? Any suspicious behavior? Okay. What will people have to say about Cody now? Will we start to get oddball stories of him having odd behavior, acting strange, always wanting to be around children? What will people say now of this neighbor? What will people say about his demeanor as a person? What type of person he was? I am curious to that. I'm sure we will hear lots of tales pertaining to this Cody person, what type of person he was, any type of oddities about him, because you know, once people are deceased, people come out with all type of tales of a person and their behavior and things that they've done. But as I state, the police says they do not know of him in a criminal manner, and he did not have a criminal background. What did he do to lure Miss Faye away? As they state, the family says she was playing outside. She's known to have played on the porch. So she was outside between allegedly 3:45 and 5 p.m. What did he do to lure her? What did he say to her? And as I state, had he talked to her before? Had he tried luring her and other neighborhood children before? Has he even done something to any of the other children and no one knows anything about it? When did he discard her? The same night that she went missing? Next day? And how did he discard her? That should be very interesting as well, considering she was outside. And I'm thinking of the reference they made that the critical evidence that links the two is on the flyer, the missing persons flyer. So one could think it's what they found in the trash at his home, what she was wearing. Because, you know, we don't have to go into gritty details of what we think happened to her, but we know something sinister happened between she and Cody. And I got a feeling that it has something to do with the garments she was wearing, that he probably discarded her clothes. And that's the missing link that's on the flyer, because they're saying the critical evidence is pertaining to the missing persons flyer. So I would assume it was her clothing. The thing I learned from talking about this case and many other cases that I've talked about is that children are easily manipulated. Children are easily lured. And people will say, My child would never do that. My child would never do this. You can never say what your child would or would not do, especially a younger child, 6 years old. Children of that age are very easily lured. It does not take much to lure a child. You can lure them with candy. You can lure them with goods, toys, video games, movies, anything that they think would be of interest to a child. Because you always have to remember, it is a ploy. It is a ruse. And if a person is adamant, he or she or they will do whatever they have to do to get the child alone. So it doesn't take very much. It could be a free meal. I've heard that in one story. The guy lured the girl in the neighborhood. They lived in the same apartment complex. He lured the little girl with McDonald's. So you see, it doesn't take very much. And bringing the dog along. Children love pets, most children. Doesn't take very much to lure a child. And people need to keep that in mind. Stop thinking your child won't go to a stranger, won't follow a stranger. They will, and they have. And I think it's evident. The fact that he's a neighbor, he got her away from that play area where she was, some type of way. Talk to your children. Pray for the best for your children. As I state, don't always assume what your child would and would not do. Pray that nothing bad will ever happen to your children, and know that everyone is deemed a stranger, be it family members, brother, sister, cousin, husband, boyfriend, uncle, aunt, whomever. You cannot trust people around your children. And I know you can't walk around on eggshells around everybody and think the worst of everyone, but know that children are lured by people they know, neighbors, people that know of them. So always keep that in mind, that no one is exempt from harming your child. I'm wondering when the family will speak. When will the parents give commentary on the death of their child? As we know now, it would be a privacy issue at this point because now the child has been found deceased. So I could see, they may not want to speak now that she's been found deceased, but I was curious to why they didn't give a statement when the child first went missing. That was a bit odd to me, but the police said that they were cooperating at that time, so we will see if they'll ever speak to the public and give any type of thank you, gratitude to the police and the kind neighbors who looked out and gave said information pertaining to finding information that got the child discovered. Where is the justice in this case? Because if they're linking this Cody to Faye Swetlik, then there will be no justice. The only justice is that she was found. But there'll be no justice for the suspect who committed the crime against Miss Faye. And it is cruel to, one, abduct a child, lure a child, do ungodly things to a child, and then take the coward's way out and end your life. I'm assuming that's what happened with this guy. It has not been stated, but I got a feeling that's what happened. Considering he was found in his residence that was released, he got spooked and he killed himself. He didn't have any problem luring a child and doing things to her. I'm sure he had, we don't have to go there, but we're not dumb either. And then you take the coward's way out and kill yourself. And many people do that when they know they've done wrong to people. They go kill themselves afterwards. Why? Had no business bothering that baby in the first place. As I state, you cannot trust anyone around your child. And even letting your child play outside, as you see, you cannot even let your child play outside in feet away, yards away from you. You think it's okay because you've been doing that. Allegedly, the child was known to play on the porch, outside in the yard, small proximity, I'm sure, if these were townhouses. But as you see, it was not safe that day for Faye Swetlik. That lie, that a fool, a clown, a pedophile, a sicko was lying in wait and had been watching probably God knows how long. And he pounced and took his opportunity, which is the sickest part of this story. So now people need to realize that your child is not safe nowhere. Your child is not safe on the front porch. Your child is not safe outside in the front of the yard, the back of the yard. That you have to now sit outside with your children and watch your children. There is no more letting your child go outside to play by himself, herself. And I know sometimes You know, people may think, well, the kids have got to be kids, and yes, they do. But as you see, what she did every day, I'm sure, in warm weather, whatever, temperament weather, she went outside and played. And on this fateful day, Faye was not safe in her own environment, in a place that she's been, I'm assuming, playing outside. She was not safe because someone was watching her and lured her away. And people need to know that your children are not safe. And that we as people take for granted letting children sit outside to play. Going outside, going up the street, around the corner, out of eyesight. Because as you see, that once the child is out of eyesight, he or she is not safe. And no child is exempt from a predator. Like and share. Drop your comments below. And thank you for joining me. I will bring you another update to this story as I get to set information. You all have a wonderful and safe weekend and have a happy Valentine's Day. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye. And this is Everyday Shenanigans. Bye-bye.